Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about something very important to me, which is the bombilla, which is used in Paraguay, my family's home country. It is traditionally used with tereré, and to give you context, I want to take you back to an earlier phase of my life when I lived in Paraguay for a summer. Oftentimes, I don't know if you'll find this relatable, but immigrant parents often threaten their kids to send them home and show them what it was like before moving to America, and that's what happened to me. So I spent the summer living with my family in a very rural part where I would take care of crops and make sure that pigs and coyotes wouldn't eat all the food that we had. And every day, after and before school, we would all sit around and drink it together. So I don't have it with me today, but I wanted to use this as an example. Essentially, I would be about 10 or 11, and my job would be to fill it up with the yerba mate that we would grow and use something called the bombilla, which is kind of like a spoon. We fill it, and this is supposed to be almost like a cow's horn shape, which is what the indigenous people did for hundreds of years. And we'd spread it like this. And by using this tradition, I was able to know everyone around me. I was able to make friends with all of my classmates, know people that I didn't even know I was related to. And it's very common to do something like that and to just fit in by simply taking part in this custom that's very unique to Paraguay. The United Nations UNESCO program labels the usage of tereré, which is the name of the tradition, as a very inclusive, respectful, and culturally significant part of humanity. And I agree with it completely. So today, I'm going to talk about the history, how we drink it, and what it's meant to me. And let's get started. So, to get more in depth onto the history of this drink, let's use the Revista from Harvard Magazine, which is their Latin American review that they publish every year, in which they talk about tereré and its history. So, the Guarani people were the indigenous people that lived and still live in Paraguay today. In case you didn't know this, Paraguay is very proud of its heritage and very proud of being Guarani. I personally have tested, and I'm 45% Guarani, so I carry it with a lot of pride myself. I speak the language, and it's taught nationally in schools to this day. Most people speak more Guarani than Spanish in Paraguay today. So, this practice of drinking yerba mate and passing it around in a circle with friends is countless centuries old. It's not really known how old, but most scholars estimate probably 600 or 700. And it was called ga'u by the Guarani, which means herbal water, because it was viewed to have significant medicinal properties and viewed almost like a hygienic practice, similar to washing your hands every day. It needed to be done with others. So, as you can see, I'll do another demonstration. Let's say I receive this from someone, they pass it to me. We're all drinking from the same cup. Doesn't matter how big the group is, you'll use the same one. And I fill it with cold water, pour it, and then I mix it with the bombilla. A clip of this will be attached afterwards in a separate file. I just simply don't have this with me today. You usually order it from Paraguay, and most of it is handmade. It used to be made from cow's horns, but more humane items are used now, such as like leather or wood or any other organic materials. So yeah, that's basically it. You sip from it, you pass it around, and you sort of just chill. Usually the duration of it is around, I'd say 30 to 45 minutes per session, and it's of great respect to do it when you enter someone's house. Usually choosing not to do it is a sign of not liking a person or not wanting to share with them. And as a kid, I would do it because I would be worried about the hygienic impact of it, but honestly, my parents would yell at me, and most people would look at me funny when I did that. So I learned to get over it, and I've never really gotten sick from it personally. Okay, and now I want to emphasize the historical context even further and why this is so important in Paraguay especially. For a quick history lesson, as covered as well by the UNESCO Heritage Foundation and Revista, Paraguay was the victim of a genocide that killed about 90% of its male population in the mid-1800s. To this day, the country is still recovering from it. There are only about 7 million people that live in there, and we're the lowest amount of immigrants to enter into America out of any country in Latin America. So it's very rare to meet one of us or to interact with one of us. That is also why the practice of this is viewed as so precious and done so frequently. It is viewed as a way of celebrating each other's survival and solidarity, and it's a way of welcoming each other as family. Because to be honest, The amount of people that were left in Paraguay after the Triple Alliance, which was sort of like Latin America's World War, left around only 10% of the original population, as children and women were also killed. So there is a very deep meaning behind this practice of rebuilding together and slowing down and taking the time to just be. It's a very mindful practice. So those are the important elements to me of tereré. And as yerba mate gains more traction in America and the West, especially amongst active communities like hikers and climbers, I'm very happy to see that. But I would still like for a more traditional product or awareness to be out there so people can understand where it comes from and why it means so much, and that it's been used for centuries at this point as a way of energizing, socializing, and healing as well. So thank you for listening to me today. I also wanted to share that I'm wearing the national team's alternate jersey because we're playing against Team USA today. I am still rooting for Team USA. I hope they do well. But I have an obligation to root for Paraguay as well because we're underdogs and we haven't been in the games much. So I wish you all a great rest of your week. Thank you for watching my speech, and go Paraguay.